All right, let's get this show on the road. Welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining in.
All right, let's do it.
My name is High Five from Ryan, as you know, from the stream. Um, and I am joined today by, as we were joking on the call here, we are joined by a very magnificent Beardo, and also the amazing human attached to them, RJ, as well. So please introduce yourself. The stage is yours.
Hello. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for having me here. My name is, as Ryan said, my name is RJ. I go by Beardo on the games and the media. I'm an award-winning audio engineer and TV film sound designer, working mainly with Dungeon Beach Post Sound Studios in Williamsburg, New York City. I've been playing games for about 30 years now. I mostly like playing some platformers, RPGs, puzzle games, and very creative indie games as well, like this one, Have a Nice Death. And yeah, I'm very glad to be here, and I'm excited to talk about this wonderful game that in a sense brought Ryan and myself together, and many people from the community together. So thank you again for having me, Ryan.
Absolutely. It was a really fun idea that kind of like, I don't know, inspired, uh, two different minds, right, about two different backgrounds and stuff. So, um,
Absolutely.
as Beardo and or RJ is, not of the speedrunner world, and that's totally fine. I am. I have more of a speedrunner background, starting with the game
Mm.
Hades. And some people from the Hades community told me about the game Have a Nice Death. So I guess we'll start there. How do we get into Have a Nice Death? And I guess I'll kind of like transfer that here. So again, having a speedrunner background, speedrunner community likes to like jump into different types of games and stuff like that. There's like, hey, there's this new game that just came out or whatever. Want to go check it out, and we'll be like, yeah, sure, right. And so this is like a combination mix because first I saw like there was like a YouTube trailer a long time ago about this Have a Nice Death, and I was just captivated by the art firsthand. And I was like, wow, this looks really cool. And then seeing like some of the clips of the midair combos and stuff like that, it's definitely reminiscent of like a Devil May Cry or something like that. I was like, this is really cool. I thought that was really nice. So, but of course, like, at the time, it was like, yeah, it'll expect it in 2022. Then me with my memory, I just forgot all about it. Fast forward to like, now, uh, we had people from the community, like the Hades speedrunning community, saying, "Hey, this game looks pretty cool. Maybe want to go check it out." And sure enough, I did. And 300 plus gaming hours later, here we are. So how did you come about Have a Nice Death?
Well, Ryan, as you said earlier, you come from the speed run background, and I come from not the polar opposite background, but I come from a different background in that I don't necessarily play games to speed run, and it's
Mm,
not because I don't want to; it's just because it's just not something I do all the time. But I still love playing games, and I love playing, like I said earlier, like very much the platformer and RPG kind of genres, and like sometimes I'll play a little first person shooter and other ones. And I was on, and I, as I also said, I like indie games. I like creative indie games, ones that you definitely feel like they come from a very imaginative place, and they are made by very creative people. And I was been doing like kind of browsing through Steam, looking for like some cool looking indie games. And on a day where they were actually celebrating indie games, they had like a bunch on sale. I got a bunch, and I happened to see in the little corner of Steam this little skull, and I found this little this little character. And I was like, oh, he that looks cool, and I clicked on. There it was. There's the game, and it just so happened that was the day that Have a Nice Death was released for early access. So it was like day one, I found it, and I was so happy to. And just by the look of the video of on the Steam of the game, I was just like, this looks cool because it looks something that's familiar to me, being from the platform RPG kind of action roguelike background, where that's definitely something that appeals to me. And sure enough, I got it. I didn't even question it. I just was like, this looks cool. I should get it.
mhm.
And so I did, and sure enough, I just fell in love instantly with the game. And much like yourself, like I think I've officially reached now 250 hours in. So I don't think there's any doubt that that I, don't like it. But, yeah, so but yeah, so I came from, like, a more less speedrunny background, but I saw it and it appealed to me because that's something that I feel really connected to me was just the look of it, the creativity of it, even just from a first impression. And fortunately, when I just dived right into it and got to really see the lore and the characters and the look and the feel of it, I was in love. I just loved it and still do.
Absolutely. For anyone that does not know what game we're talking about,
Yeah.
this is Have a Nice Death. Have a Nice Death is currently in early access, and it has been since March of this year. It is a game that has been developed by Magic Design Studios and then also published by Gearbox Publishing. So you probably, some bells might ring off like, oh, I know Gearbox from like the Borderlands series and stuff. That's correct. They have their own publishing. They have their own publishing program as well, and they help fund very small developers such as Magic Design Studios. And for anyone that hasn't played it yet, Have a Nice Death is a 2D action roguelike platformer where you play as the Grim Reaper Death, whose employees have run rampant. Like they've kind of like gone rogue, so to speak, and it's just gone crazy. So Death, was really getting sick and tired. He was getting burnt out, and he wants to take matters in his own hands and get things back under control, and then take a vacation. Isn't and if that isn't the mood, I don't know what is. So that is kind of like a very brief introduction of the game. It's got a lot. It pulls a lot of whatchamacallit, inspiration from like many other games. I've seen a lot of people throwing around Hollow Knight because like of the look of the
Mm,
game, but it's nothing like Hollow Knight at all, I would say,
mm,
because I mean, like, yeah, you get to play as like a cute little hooded figure kind of thing, but it's nothing like the combat is nothing like it at all. The only similar thing that I would say Have a Nice Death and um, Hollow Knight have in common is the platforming.
mm.
And
I
outside
would
of
agree.
that, outside of that though, nothing like it. There's a lot more like roguelike elements and like build diversities and stuff like that with that have going on in Have a Night's Death. Um, so Beardo, like when you first started
Mm.
playing this game, what did you think of it? Like this is
Well,
like very very first like early access kind of stuff.
yeah. So like the second I played it, as I told you, like, I fell in love with it, but I got sold from the moment that the first time you go through his little office to the elevator, that first elevator, and the moment I heard that cheesy elevator music, that bam, 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 I was like, this, I cracked up, and I was just like, this is brilliant. I love that and it's funny how something as simple as like the loading screen with the music can hook somebody, and that's literally what happened to me where I heard the cheesy elevator music, and I love that they had the elevator loading screen, like how it's set up to make it look like he's going between the floors,
Hmm.
and I was just like, that's fun. I was like, clever move there, guys, clever. No, that was clever. um so I was literally hooked from the get-go, but the moment I started playing, and as I said, I come from a platforming background, where I played all the classic platformers, from Mario to the more later stuff with not Crash Bandicoot, but also like I mentioned when we were last talking, like Oddworld,
Hmm. Earthworm
and
Jim.
what's Earthworm. Thank you. It's still in the morning for me. I still haven't had enough coffee, but yeah, but Earthworm Jim, especially, but also I was really connecting to it on that level, but I just loved the gray, morbid black comedy feel of the game, and I've always been a fan of that kind of uh, dark, morbid comedy, but also like just dark, morbid stuff like Adam's Family, Tim Burton,
Hmm.
stuff similar to that. And I loved how they kind of embraced that in this unique. I mean, and the thing is, it's a unique concept for them to take the idea of death, the Grim Reaper death, and make it so he's like running a company, like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I and I having been through the workforce, I've worked in a way that's very similar to in a setting that's kind of like Death Incorporated. One of my first jobs in New York City was working in the Rockefeller Center on like the 55th floor for like an archiving, not archiving, an investment firm doing archiving. And so I
Mhm,
was very familiar with that kind of mundane work life. So I'd instantly connected to that kind of the setup that they have with that. And I just really got attuned to the style and the setup in terms of how you play, where it's basically essentially a platforming action roguelike. And I had just come out right before playing that. I was in the middle of playing through Cuphead. I've played Cuphead since it came out, and I've been trying to kind of advance more with it, trying to get the perfect scores, trying to get the S grade on the different worlds. Beating the bosses, perfect, no hits.
mhm.
And having just come from that Cuphead setup, I went right into Have a Nice Death with the mindset of like, okay, I get this. Like you have to use dash to get around to dodge stuff. You have to, be on top of your game and with the bosses, and you have to be really careful and cautious not to essentially get hit. I love
Mhm.
my favorite advice about the game is basically just don't die, just don't get hit. And that is the mindset, and yeah, I really attached to that from the first moment, and I can definitely say just like in conclusion that it's just a mix of that look and feel, that morbid gray feel to it, mixed with the comedy and the humor and just the action play, just the action roguelike style playing with the platforming all got me right in from the literally the first floor. I was just like, I'm set. Like,
Yeah,
like
mhm.
everything else is just fair game for me. It's good. So
I was the
there
same,
you go.
honestly, like, with, as you mentioned, like, the elevator music, I was like, "Man, really?" Like, you got this, like,
Hmm.
real, like, jazzy, upbeat kinda, like, elevator music and stuff, and I'm like, "Alright, I can vibe with this. This is cool." And then, like,
Yeah. I hear
yeah,
that in my
the
dreams now. Like
yeah, it's been
the moment between I dream and wake up, I hear that music basically as
mhm.
I'm like starting to
I think every elevator, in a 6 block radius of New York City should have this, elevator music as a staple.
They should. They actually should. I would actually try to infiltrate that on my building elevator. I'll just set that up somewhere and put a little speaker,
There we
you
go,
know.
yeah, mhm. Yeah, it was, like, the same for me too, like, with, you know, it was really cool to see, like, the kind of, like, the dark humor of it all, and,
Mm,
really, like, putting together like, they put it in joke terms and stuff like that, of like being like overworked or burnt out
yeah.
and stuff like that. But like, no,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
they certainly do bring to light a lot of things that is true. Where
Good.
people
Yeah.
are like, overworked and like they're just sitting there just like,
Mhm.
sipping on coffee and just trying to make it through the day, And
And I'm one who knows that very well, and I'm sure that there's many other players that can relate to that.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's
I
very
still deal with
relatable.
that. Even as an audio engineer, you still deal with that. You still deal with burnout and working long hours, so I can and so
Mhm.
it's definitely relatable even
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. Yeah. And then we get into the actual like
Mm,
gameplay. So like
mm,
I was never like much of a platforming kind of person. I was always like playing more or less like RPGs and stuff like that, right? And then I got big
mhm,
into speedrunning with Hades. Hades has no
mm,
platforming at all.
mm.
Like there's like a dash, which is kind of transferable, right? But other than
Yes.
that, it's like you just beat the rooms and you go on to the next thing. So that was the only thing that I was really
Yep.
equipped with in going into Have a Nice Death. Like, so the platforming world has been like really new for me. Well, not really new because like I've played Mario and you know stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I
But
think every gamer has had some kind of platforming at least moment, at least going through that. Yeah.
mhm. But I mean, like as a speed game, No, never did like,
Yeah, yeah.
not huge in that department, but
Mhm,
when advancing like the game and stuff like that was certainly the biggest thing was like man this game is tough like this game is difficult and like
mhm.
you were saying too if like as I got better in the game and then people were checking out either my streams or like asking me questions in the Discord like man like what's some like good advice you're a speedrunner right so like you got to know like how to play this game and I'm like yeah but honestly, like the best advice I
Only to
can
an
give
extent,
you
yeah.
is like, try not to get hit. Really study really study the
Straight to the
enemies.
point. Straight to the
Yeah, like
point. Yeah,
really study
but yeah.
the enemies and like how they behave, how they react, and like by the way, like the
Mhm.
AI in this game is so good. Like,
I like it a lot. Yeah.
it is
Yeah, no, it is.
it
It is, yeah.
it is so good. Like the enemies will juke you, they will like avoid your attacks, and like they will like counterattack you. And
Mhm,
like
mhm.
I I thought I was being cheeky and like, all right, well I'm a speedrunner, so like I can go in here and like just dash behind this guy and then attack it and like no big deal. And like it just throws me off. Where the we'll take the petrol from
Ah,
World 2
yes.
where he just like
Yeah.
shifts over to the side and then winds up for a punch and
Yep.
I'm like, "Wait, what?" So
Yeah,
um
yeah.
yeah,
They ain't slow. They ain't slow, man.
yeah,
They keep you on your toes for sure.
it's wild. So that whole
Mhm.
combination of like how difficult the game like really was like at this like and encompassed with like the art style and like how things progress and like again like we were talking about just the aesthetic of how they bring to light different things, right? So you have like an addictions department, you have pollution, you have warfare, you have all these different things that are like very prominent and I think very relatable to like a lot of people's lives. And
Mhm.
it just keeps the game fresh with like a huge cast of like lovable characters as well. So um
Yeah.
yeah, do you have a favorite character, I guess, like
Oh.
in Death's like little
Ooh.
circle.
So are we talking enemies or or his, like,
We'll
employees
just talk the
that
employees. Yeah. We'll just talk about the
Oh,
employees.
well, I mean, I gotta say, I love Jerry. Just
Yeah,
it's just
Jerry, yeah.
yeah, I mean, much love to our Jerry, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been a fair one for me, and funny enough, I actually love Jacob. Jacob, I think, is my I would have to say Jacob is my favorite character, and I just love the the lore behind his and Death's friendship. And I think I said in the Discord, I was like, I would love to see like a college style movie like of them meeting, you know? Like what was it like when Death and Jacob, met for the first time? And I would love to see like some kind of like animated thing like showing like, when he forged the first, the scythe and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I love Jacob in general. I like that Jacob never at all questions death. All the other if once you've died in a game,
Mm-hmm.
if you were beaten by a boss or a sorrow,
Mm-hmm.
as we call them in the game, when you return to the beginning, your other employees will actually like almost insult you like or they'll almost say like nice job, you played like crap, but go get him, that kind of thing where it's and I
Mm-hmm.
love that they do that they put that in the game where when you see the characters again they just give you they give you I don't know if you can curse here, but they give you crap basically for like losing. And
Mm-hmm.
I like that Jacob never does that. He's always like you know here's a let's get some good weapons. It's like yes, I love this, go get him. He's I like that he's what's the way to put it, his
Loyalty.
faith is unyielding. Yes, yeah, his loyalty is unyielding.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would put
Do you know
it.
little trivia? Do you know what they bonded over? Um
And then what's funny is I turned off the game so I could like focus more on this. Oh, that's a good trivia one, and I should know this because I've looked at the handbook enough times.
It's alright.
I don't remember. I'm blanking on it actually. I blame the lack of coffee that I'm blanking on it.
Yeah, that's right. See, so for anyone at home, if you're having a if you're stumped, if your brain is kind of like going in meltdown, have a coffee, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
The healing source of Have a Nice Death. They actually bonded
Have a cup of
over.
coffee, and we'll have world peace. Easy.
That's right. That's right.
Mm.
The
What'd they bond
they bonded over their favorite card game.
over? Ah, that's awesome. I can't. I wish
Yeah, I
I could
think it was like
remember.
I think it was like a trading card game, but I don't think they ever like specified like the name or anything of it.
I
But
wonder
I
if
know
they're referencing Pokemon. That's what
probably
I think.
like I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
either
like
that
Pokemon or Magic the
or
Gathering, something like
Magic.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Magic would probably be another one.
Hmm.
That's actually I love see, that's why I love it. That's why I
Yeah.
love the creativity, and,
Hmm.
like, we could just say, "Oh, Jacob met Hand and they bonded," or they became friends. It's another
It's another
level
level, right?
when you say, "No, they bonded over a card game," and I love that. I lo Very cool.
My favorite is
Yeah.
probably Pumpkin, just because like she's
Pumpkin.
she's always there
Is it
for
she or
you.
a he? I can't remember if it's a
I
he or a
think
she.
I'm always thinking like officially it's a they, right? I don't think Pumpkin really has a like fluid or a non-fluid gender, I would say. But
Mhm.
I always call her a she because like I'm just thinking of like I don't know, like Harley Quinzel, so I'm thinking Quinn, like I don't know. And her well, sorry, Pumpkin's voice is like very like higher pitched and stuff, so I just my brain just automatically thinks like she's my like personal assistant, and those are like mostly female dominated roles. So I apologize, but
Mhm.
I will take I'll take Pumpkin as my favorite because Pumpkin is like always like there for you. It's very similar to like Jacob,
Yeah.
undying
Yeah.
loyalty, and even though uh, you know most of the employees are saying that like you should go do this, but you know what? I think like you're the best boss for the for our
Yeah.
company. You know what I mean? So like
Much like Jacob, Pumpkin's loyalty is very strong, and, in fact, I think isn't Pumpkin, like, the first character you see when you play the game new? Like, because after
no,
that
it's
little
Patrick.
it is, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because I remember in that beginning animation, like, they have that little moment when Pumpkin comes into the office when Death is about to, lose it and, uh, become, like, combat Death. I love that scene,
Hmm.
actually.
Oh yeah. Oh no, no, you're
Um
right. You're right. It would be like I mean, if you're watching the cinematic, the first like the cinematic, yes, Pumpkin is the first character that you kind of like assimilate to. But if you play in the
mhm.
game, if you jump break straight into the game, like off of a brand new file, the first character you see is Patrick that greets you at
Yeah.
the desk.
Yep. Little Patrick and Pumpkin.
Oh yeah. All right. So let's talk about like actual like the nitty gritty of the gameplay and like
Let's do it.
why we really enjoy the games. Like, what makes like Have a Nice Death so
Mm,
fun? Like, why have we sunk so many hours into the game already?
yeah.
Um, you can start with like pretty much anything. Like, what do you think of? Yeah, I guess like what do you really enjoy most about Have a Nice Death? Like,
I
why do you still keep playing it?
I enjoy the freshness. The random, I guess, the random number generating random element in the game where each run is never the same.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love that as part of that. That's besides, as I was saying, earlier about, you were asking about what hooked me to the game, like first time playing it. After the that feeling of like, oh wow, this looks cool, has kind of waned. I got more into the idea of like, well, wow, I am playing a run, I die, that's all fine, but now I start a new run and it's completely different. I get to choose a different floor, I get to choose a different weapon set, I can build my curse tree differently, and I love that freshness in the game. And it just keeps my mind sharp, as a way of saying, I guess, where rather than doing the same thing again, the same run again, the same jumps, the same dashes, the same dodges, I have to rethink it in terms of what my build is. Of like, if I don't, if I'm say if I do more of a cloak build, I have to you adapt my combat style to those weapons. And if I
Mm-hmm.
do another run with like mana spells, like like a chomper or fire arrow, I have to adapt my style to that. And I love that kind of uh sense of where you really have to be like not hyper aware, but just highly aware
Mm-hmm.
of like what's going on around you in the moment. And you have to remember that it's not going to be the same thing twice. And I love that about the game. And I do like that you do, a sense, get to choose your own path in a sense of where, you do have a set of floors, but you can certainly customize that path to how you want to evolve in the game. It's within that particular run.
Mm-hmm.
And in connection to that, I really really love the combat style. And it's a mix of the animation and the just combat setup itself, just the moves set that you can do with his scythe. Um, and I remember telling you that one of my favorite moves of his is the down attack with the scythe, where he does like a little spin thing where he can spin it from side to side.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that how they kind of set that up basically, where it's like you can do all these different kind of unique combos and moves, and you can do it in combination with your other weapons. And if you have a curse like retrain, you can actually get more damage and get more reward from doing some cool move sets with your stuff. So I really love that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of it's always like
What about
fresh.
you?
Yeah, it's certainly always like fresh. I mean, and like certainly like incorporating like some of those like attack move sets and stuff in speedrunning is really interesting as well. So like if you're in midair and you do a down attack, you actually fall faster. So like while you're
Mm-hmm.
doing platforming and you're speedrunning, you want to go fast. So I'm constantly using these different like combat mechanics like while even platforming because it helps you be a little bit faster.
Yeah,
Even just the
absolutely.
charge attack. The charge attack is really useful.
Yes.
That not a
I'm
lot of
a
people
large,
use.
you know me. You know me with
Yeah.
the charge attack.
Mhm.
I will support it to the end of my days.
It's really good though because
Yeah. And the
as you get
charge
and the
rush
charger
as
rush,
well.
that's right, yeah. Like as you get used to the game, you get used to you start getting used to like, all right, I've seen this room before, and like these enemies are
Mhm.
spawning, they're about to spawn in this kind of like pattern here. So if I position myself in like the central location of like where they're gonna spawn, and I get myself ready for a charge attack, like it's gonna hit all of them, right? And then like then you can
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
your combos and like use your spells and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
as again, like you were mentioning though, like if you like have like different spells or something, or different cloaks or something like that, then you can you know handle those rooms maybe a little bit differently. So like it,
Yes.
it gives it
Yeah.
gives like the player a lot of a myriad of options to utilize. And like if you're not like at quite the speed and you want to like take it slow, then you can just take a step back and then like wait to see like what develops. But if you're like very like hands
Yeah.
on, like I just want to go and go forth, and you can do that too. The game gives the user plenty of options to attack either arena rooms, which are like just the regular encounter rooms, or even
Mhm.
just the Thanagers and Sorrows. Thanagers, of
Yeah.
course, in the game are like the mini bosses that you can choose, sometimes not choose, but you have to fight,
Yeah.
or sometimes you can avoid them. And the Sorrows are, of course, the end bosses of the level. And of course, there's five
Mm.
levels for five worlds, whichever you want to call them. And yeah, we can go into that. So the Thanagers and Sorrows, like, how do you feel about the boss fights?
I
Like,
I feel that honestly, I think that's at least now, with the recent update, that the Thanagers have become almost equally as difficult as the Sorrows. At least in terms of their speed and the patterns that they've used. But maybe that's just maybe I would say I take that with a grain of salt because I'm just coming out of having recently played them new, so I'm not as familiar with the move sets yet as I am with the Sorrows, which I've been playing, for what now, almost like 2 months. But I'd feel that I love the new. I love the fact that they kind of that they added more. But I do like that they do offer a unique challenge for the rewards that they offer because if you beat a Thanager, like a Sorrow, you get a huge, well, not a huge, but you get a large amount of Solary as a reward, and then you
Hmm.
also get a curse. You get to add to your curse tree as a reward. So, in kind of in a way of connecting to what we were talking about in terms of like the freshness and how you can adapt your builds to a specific run. Say if you get the option to either you're at the elevator and your next floor could either be a Thanager or the HR department, which is where you can get a curse. You get a guaranteed curse. So it's up to you to decide if you want to risk like going against a Thanager and possibly getting some damage or even dying, or going, I guess, what some would say is the easier route and going to the HR department and getting a curse from just like, uh, fighting in an arena. And for those who are unfamiliar with the game, an arena is a moment in the floors of the game that are non-boss and non-Thanager, where you enter an area and it seals off, and you have to defeat a specific number of enemies for the space to get unlocked, and then you get a reward from that. Either sometimes it's a lot of solary, and sometimes you can even get weapons and other items like prismiums and cursory rolls and penalty. No, I don't think you get penalty the neutralizers
Nullifiers.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
think
call
you
it. Yeah.
can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen any, funny enough, in my rewards for, the arenas, but, the point is, like, the arena setup there, gives you a guaranteed curse. So it's up to you to decide if you wanna go against the Thanager and get the curse, or you wanna go to the HR department and get the curse. If for me personally, if I'm feeling risky and I feel like, "Oh, I wanna try it, I wanna, like, at least, get my hand on it," I'll go for that, I'll go for the Thanager. But I like that it gives you that challenge. And I do like that, at least now with the recent update, the challenges feels a little more rewarding, especially because they now added some more managers, and you got to get used to that now. Because especially for all of us players who have been playing the game for a little while, like
Hmm.
we're all used to William Hung, and we're all used to you know um Slima,
Slima.
and we're
Mm.
all and we're used and like we're used to uh uh not Camille, Candace.
Candace, yeah.
And so the fact that they've got more now, we have to be on our game, so to speak. We have to know these new moves. But I do like them a lot. I love the setup and I love the challenge. And I like the fact that you do sometimes, because sometimes you only get a Tanager choice, but I do like that you do get a choice of whether or not you want to see if you got the game to go against them and survive it, so to
That's
speak.
right, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
And even with the update as well, like they even though like the already existing Danagers have been there, so like your Slimas, your William Hongs,
Hmm.
your Candaces, your even King, right? The King mosquito bug, right?
Ah, King Dengue.
Yeah,
Dengue.
yeah, Dengue.
Dengue. Fun fact, do you
They
know where that name is from?
no.
That's an interesting trivia. So dengue is from they take the name from dengue fever, which is
Oh,
which is a illness that you can get from being bit by mosquitoes, especially in like Asia, in South Asia
right,
especially.
right, right. I'm seeing it
And
now.
yeah, what's funny is I only know that because there's a band from Vietnam called Dengue Fever.
Uh,
They're a great band, and and so like that's one of the things I remember like seeing. I was like, oh, cool, dengue.
mm,
Well, not cool. It's not fun, but but no, that's not. Yeah, that's where they get a name from.
mhm.
But I almost forgot about dengue, and dengue is a good point actually, Ryan, because dengue is, I think, at least, I mean, you or anyone could argue, but I would say that Dengue is the most unique Thanager because he does what no other Thanager can do, which is steal your health. So
Hmm.
if you get hit, dengue takes the health and adds it to their health.
Exactly.
So you're on, yeah, you're on your feet, uh, very much so against dengue because, and I remember, and I'll finish it with this funny little thing. I got sacrifice on a run, so I was like, "Oh, great! I got sacrifice. I could just heal myself. Oh, great!" I swear to God, I was in a fight against dengue for an hour because I kept messing up and getting hit. He took my health, and I just kept like rebuilding my health from the sacrifice, and he would take my health. And I swear to God, the fight lasted for an hour. So at the point, I was just like, my eyes were getting sunk. I was like, I ain't losing this, man. We're going down together. We're going down together, Dengue. I swear to God. But yeah. But
uh,
I would like to see more. Well, I don't know if this is crossing over into another top, but I would definitely like to see other Thanagers have a similar thing where they have a specific skill that is unique to them, much how Dengue steals your health. I would
yeah,
definitely that.
absolutely.
So
Actually, I'm pulling from chat here. I don't know if you can see it, but on my stream
I can't
here,
see it.
we got Dark Mage, 1820 or
Ah,
1823, saying that
okay.
you play against each manager against all of them differently. You
Yes.
play differently against all of the different managers, which is true. Um,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. You have to adapt to that specific style. That's connects to what we were talking about with the game where with it being fresh and the feeling of freshness because not all combat's the same. You know,
mhm,
you got to you're not and that goes for the sorrows as well. It's like,
mhm,
you're not the way that you fought against Grimes, who is the
mhm,
second world sorrow, is almost exactly opposite of how you would fight against Crank, who is the World 3 Sorrow.
mhm,
And like, with Grimes, you're on the floor. You're usually kept at a distance. I usually keep a distance from him because he has a mean punch and
yep,
all, and his spit can fly across. So he's much more in a range kind of setup. And
mhm,
with Crank, you have to be jumping a lot because he zooms across the screen and he throws his claw out at you. So you do have to be more jumpy in that sense, and you have to be more airbound.
yep,
And so yeah, I absolutely agree. It's like you do, and that goes for the Thanagers, where you have, and that's the challenge, in the moment challenge, is that
right,
your memory, and this goes into almost like a physical thing, where your memory has to recall that combat setup. So say if you're used to, you just got out of a fight, with a Thanager in the one world, and you're like, okay, here we go, another Thanager, and it's a completely different person. Your brain has to be like, oh shit, sorry if I curse,
it's
but
good.
like your brain is literally like, oh man, like how did this person move again? Yeah, it's like my brain has to recall all the move sets from that specific Thanager. So I absolutely agree with Dark Mage, which is, but that's part of the freshness. That's part of what makes it fun to play because you're
Mhm,
on the challenge. It's not boring, so to speak.
yep. On top of that too, like MDS, Magic Design Studios, are also like have given the existing Thanagers more move sets. So like
Yes. Yes.
even like yeah, if we're already used to like the William Hong and like the Slima and
Mm-hmm.
already the Thanagers that already exist, they've even had in the recent update like hey like we just gave them a couple more moves just to keep things more just a little bit more
Yeah.
fresh. And I was surprised because like I first encountered this firsthand with Slima, and I was and Slima started like Slima is the Thanager that makes webs and stuff in World 2. And so
Mhm.
generally on the top of the screen, he would make a line of like, kind of like radioactive eggs that kind of like droop down and like, it kind of like affect the map that way. But now, Slima can like make those eggs on both top and like the middle bottom part of the map or whatever. So like you can't just like, easily like,
Yeah. Yeah.
jump and attack, jump and attack and make the fight very trivial. Now it's like you actually have to space out your jumps and like be very mindful of like, all right, well I can't really jump in this area or else I'm going to get hit, and like I might have to be a little bit patient here, so
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
really do enjoy MDS's commitment to keeping things fresh. It seems like that's kind of like a recurring theme, and keeping things fresh, keeping things new. and it's very refreshing to me personally,
I
because
agree.
like as long as you're keeping the game fresh and new, then there's always like a new challenge, and it just keeps the game more enjoyable, in my opinion.
Yes,
So
yeah.
and then talking about keeping things new, with the content update, they added more content to World 5, which is
Yes. Yes.
the warfare, um, I guess, world. So in this content update, they added a bunch of new enemies, for one, and they also added a new Thanager to the scene, and yeah, Modern Warfare. Thank you, Dark Mage. And they also added like a bunch of new levels. So like it's not like just, a one and done kind of thing where you go there and you face like one level, and then you fight like the boss at the end. It's now like an actual full blown like level with like more platforming and a more like organic setup. So what do you think of like
Yeah.
the updates to the new world? And
I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. I like the new enemies. The roaster in particular, I
Mhm.
is a feisty little bastard. Um, and I love. I mean, we knew this was coming anyway. We knew it felt in those first months of playing the game that of course they were going to add more to this. But I'm glad that they did it the way they did. Um, and I felt like it's very unique. The I like in particular the arena setups of World 5 and that I don't know if you've gotten the same thing I have where there's like a completely different second section of the arena now where you actually
Hmm.
have to walk over to it and the screen kind of scrolls a bit. And so I do like that they kind of expanded the arena setup to make it definitely more challenging where you do have to jump all the way to the other end to get some guys there. And then
Hmm.
like another enemy's going to spawn on the other end so you have to oh crap, you got to go over there. And I like that they expanded the enemy set, especially because we got what two, originally we had two enemies in World 5. We had the veteran and I forgot her name, but the little beheaded girl that drops the bombs.
The Sully, I think,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and or Bombara, I
Yeah,
think not
a
Bombara.
bomberette.
Yeah, yeah, and so
Bombara, yeah, Bombara, yeah, okay.
y- yeah, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. Um, and obviously, I love the expansion of where they added more different styles, where they now have the which I guess is the other one, the the plane dude, who drops the bombs. You got the cataract dude, who I love his little. Every time I hear
Go,
that, I
go,
crack up.
go.
Go, go, go! I like it. It makes me cry back, especially because by World 5, my curse set is built up a bit, my weapon set is built up, so I can just go through and just blast everyone. So I love it when I reach him, and all you hear is "fuck," and he's gone.
He's gone, yeah.
Can't take him, can't take him. But I love this. I love the addition of these characters, and definitely offers a challenge. I have to, in my opinion, I feel like they're still a little bit easy. They're
Oh, do we lose him?
in
Oh,
at least or having a stronger build set than you did in the first world.
oh no, Beardo.
Was I lost? Can you still hear me though?
I can still hear you, yeah. There we
All
go.
right.
All right, you're better,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
better. You're good, you're good, you're good.
I think it was because my thing put up your Twitch, and I think the stuff was just like
Mm.
using too much power.
All right.
I just
Power.
wanted to see the power. I have the power. I don't have the power in this case. My beard has the power. But
That's
no,
true.
I like I feel like they're still a little bit on the easy side, but there is definitely a room to improve their difficulty, so to speak, where
Mhm.
I feel like they are a challenge, but at the same time, they're being matched against myself and other players who have a strong build set by the time they reach them. So
Mhm.
I feel like they are great, and I love I love the creativity involving their setups and their little or what's it called, the stories behind them. And I feel like, yeah, they're a good addition, and they could definitely be improved a little bit in terms of difficulty, but I definitely like them.
Hmm. I
And
also
I can't
like
can't speak that high.
I also like how like some of the maps are like work against you and they work with the enemy set. For example, in World 5, you kind of have like the two level trench where like enemies will spawn either
Mm.
on the very bottom or on the top level.
Ah,
And like
yes,
you
I
have to kind of
that was
like,
part of what I wanted to tell you about, or at least talk to you about. Oh, sorry, go ahead though.
yeah, no, we can expand on it here. I really love like the even though for as a player or as a speedrunner, it's annoying, right? That like, oh, I have to go
Mm.
down here, and then fight this enemy, and then like go up top and then fight that enemy. But it's good for the game though because like it's actually like it's kind of like you it's sort of like a handicap, I guess, for like the enemies, so that like if we are having like these crazy builds at the that we're scaling super well at the end of the game, we still have to platform, right?
Yeah,
We still have to
yeah,
platform
yeah,
and adapt to like the level and everything to keep things like fresh. Like we can still probably kill the enemies very fast, but at least the enemies like have like more of a chance of like hitting you because like those roasters will like spit fire through like the floor level and you're like, how is that fair? It's like, well,
yeah,
you have
yeah.
mosquitoes and bleeds, so like how is that fair?
Not only
So
that too, but they target you from very far away. Their target
mm-hmm,
range is very far, so you do have to be careful. I've
mm-hmm,
gotten hit by one of the enemies that was on way down below, and I was on the top floor. I
yep,
just happened to be like and I know there's a sound that they make when you're seen by somebody. It's like a shing, like a little
yep,
sound that appears
mm-hmm.
when you're spotted, so to speak. And I was spotted,
Metal Gear
and I
Solid.
was thought I was fine, and all of a sudden I see this little like fireball come up. I'm like, "What?" And I got
Yeah,
hit. I was like, "Oh
yeah,
god damn it." Like, but
yeah.
no, but I remember seeing that at least in this recent update where they added that now as a new design to the levels. And I got to say, that was a great idea because in a sense they're appealing to both players like myself who love platforming, who don't necessarily play with the intention to speedrun. I'll still play through it as fast as I want to, or at least if I wanted to kind of get a hurry. But I love that they appeal to both those players who want to kind of just play around and kill enemies. And for those who are not familiar with the game, enemies killed adds to the total at the end of the game. Either when you reach the end or when you die, your kill count gets converted to the currency in the game, the ingots or ignots,
Yep.
and so for the players who want to do that, that option is there. But for the speedrunners, you don't even have to go to the bottom. You can just go across the top and or at least, just zoom across the screen as quick as you need. So I do like that they give that option, or at least MDS has offered that option to speedrunners and non-speedrunners alike,
Hmm.
where if you want to just like get right through this level, do a speed run, you have that option to do it. Just what's the word? Like coast across the top of the screen,
Right.
you know? And if you don't want it, if you want to take your time, you want to, grab another weapon, if you want to get some kill counts going, you can do that as well. But I love that they added that as a design option
Yep.
because for me, say if I wasn't in a hurry, I was like, oh, I don't, my health is low. I don't want to deal with these enemies right now. I just go
Yep.
across the top, you know? So yeah, I really enjoy that.
Yeah, and even so also with the new update, they added Jocelyn, who is
Ah,
this the
good old
spirit
Jocelyn.
the spirit of the elevator. And what I love about like that's probably so this is has to be my favorite part of the update is Jocelyn because it really opened your eyes to like a numerous different amount of play styles and how people behave in playing video games. So you do have either the speedrunners or you have like the people that just like to kill everything, and like there's nothing wrong with either of those
Mhm.
things. The contract system, in my opinion, is like the biggest, freshest thing about the game because it opens your world to like people that maybe are you know they're not of the speed running piece, but they maybe they always been interested in doing it, so they push you kind of like in that area of a contract. A contract, by the way, is a challenge. So for example, um one of the contracts in the game is you'll get a prismium right now, like at the start of your run, and the penalty is you lose 50 solary, but you keep that 50 solary if you beat the end game, or if you beat the boss of the world in under 5 minutes. So like that is like speed run like tech there. Like I mean like
Speed run.
most of my like average like runs is like beating Brad in about like 4 or so minutes, or yeah, 4 or
Yeah.
less minutes.
Yeah.
And I strongly feel that anybody playing the game can certainly do that, like with like any kind of like average build or what have you. um you can also like beat Thanagers and and under like 10 minutes, like kill two of the Thanagers in like 10 minutes. So it also incentivizes you to take those Thanager rooms as well. So these contracts
Hmm.
have been like really awesome. Definitely my favorite part of the new update, because it gives you a little bit of like build consistency like in the beginning, but it can certainly like scale you to be very very strong in the early part of the game, if for those like skilled players. And that's another thing too. MDS really does another recurring thing for MDS, Magic Design Studios, that they really do like to reward their the skilled players, and I really do appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Um, yeah, I love Jocelyn a lot. I love that new feature. For me, I definitely like the fact that they offer that challenge right at the get go. Where you know, for us especially who are very familiar with the game after playing it a lot, I love the fact that they give us and new players as well that opportunity to kind of amp it up a little bit.
Hmm.
Put a little stakes into the game, and yeah, I love that. I mean, I love that in any kind of game where you're given that little kind of add a little bit of little little bet there. Can you do that? Can you do that in this much time?
Yeah,
I'll give you
right.
this much for it.
Hmm.
I too love the contract system. I The second I saw it, I was like, all right, I'm all in for this. And for me, I definitely love that challenge, and for especially because I just love kind of going through that first world. Just very for me, usually when I'm playing now, at least when I cruise through that first level, I believe it's the Hall of Eternity is the name
Hmm.
of that floor.
Yep.
You're just I'm just in there just slaying straight through. I'm just
Hmm.
like boom, get him, boom, get him, boom, get him. So I love that this challenge gives me a bit of a reward for that and a bit of a price to pay. After now having played through the contract system, I can definitely say I'm now I got three available now to me. I think you start with one, and then
Hmm.
they offer if you beat the game number of times, you get more up. You get to be able to pay for more sections or more contracts.
Hmm.
So I'm up to 3 now, and the usual 3 that I pick now are you get a weapon, take it or leave it.
Yep.
Don't know which one you're gonna get. You're gonna get one. And then my other one that I get is the kill 30 enemies without taking damage, and I
Hmm.
believe the reward for that is like 50 mana. And the other one is beat the first sorrow without damage, and I think you
Hmm.
get a
A bunch of
more
health,
health
I
or
think.
more solar, I think. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and those are the
It's a
3 I
mixed
usually
bag.
do. It
Hmm.
is, and that's what I like about it too. It's a mixed bag, and I like that you can essentially, it costs a little bit of some ignots, but you can, re-roll it and try different options.
Hmm.
Um, I love that feature. I don't know if we're going into kind of the criticism of it, but I would definitely say that my only criticism of the contract system is that it's brief. It's temporary where you don't see Jocelyn again after you do
Hmm.
that first initial contract system.
Right.
And I wish that you could see her again, or at least after you. I was thinking of putting in the suggestions as well, like on the Discord, that you only see her on that first initial floor. I wish like once you've beaten all the contracts. Because usually I'm done with all the contracts by the first world, by the first floor.
Yep.
And I wish that there could be something where when you finish it, she reappears and she goes, "Oh, hey, you complete all that. Great. How about another set? More
Mm-hmm.
difficult this time. More
Mm.
cost."
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, that's a thought that I had only because I enjoyed it so much. I was like, "This is great. I love this contract system. I wish I could just see more of it throughout the game and with higher stakes."
Yeah. High risk, high
So,
reward. You know.
yeah, yeah, is that and even more higher risk and higher reward for when you get further into the game. Where imagine what it would be like if you had Jocelyn in like World 3 or 4, where now the cost is like you're going to lose like 50 health for something good. If you can beat Crank without taking damage, you get
Mm.
like a massive reward, but you get a massive bit of health taken away
Right.
or something like that. I don't know. But in general, yeah, I love the contract system a lot. I think it's a great addition to the game. And like you mentioned when we were talking the other day, is that it definitely adds a little bit more to this action roguelike element that's very unique to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Where I love that they are kind of combining that. They're combining some unique feature to that style.
Yeah.
Makes it interesting,
Absolutely.
makes it fun.
Yeah, the one other thing I wanted to add before we start switching gears about like either criticisms or things that we'd want to see improved. The
Mm-hmm.
one other feature that didn't really get highlighted a whole lot in the new update is that they have secret rooms now. And
Yes. Yeah.
what I love about it is that in the game has a healing system where you can spend a blue anima, and blue anima is kind of like a rare healing resource that you can find either through drops or through like arena drops, some rewards and stuff like that. Even in contracts, you can get them in contracts. You can also buy these anima at the transition level between worlds. So like if you've beaten Brad at level 1, you go to the break room, you can go to the water cooler, and you can purchase an anima there. And it scales out. The scaling of each anima that you buy is significantly increased. Um, so I think it's really cool because I don't see this in other games or anything that like it lets you, or it gives you the option to like, oh, I see like a little like padlock, secret room or whatever, like that could be over here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go spend my healing resource that's kind of rare to find, to go and get myself a goodie. It could be like some extra prismium, or it could be a rare spell or cloak or something. It could
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
more soul rate. It's whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very fascinating to like use and utilize your own healing system, and like again more like risk reward kind of play style to like
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go spend my kind of like rare healing resource to go and explore this like good old secret room a little bit. So
Mm.
I think
It's
that's
a
I think
unique
that's super
twist.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a unique twist on the that feature in games where usually with as we all know secret rooms are secret rooms. You stumble across one, but I do, and like you're saying, I do love that they add that twist to it where you have to give up something for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like that and both in this game. And I definitely would like to see this in more games where you do have to pay a price in order to get a secret reward, so to speak. And
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree that it's a very cool feature that at least makes a player, or I should say, yeah, makes a player have to consider it. It's not just you're just not going to jump around and find a secret room. You actually have to think, oh, do I want to give this up? How's my health? Is it
Mm-hmm.
low? Do I need to keep that anima?
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
so
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and as Dark Mage pointed out, it's like, well, yeah, you still get healed by the anima anyway. It's like that's true. You
That is
still
true.
you,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you still get healed, but like if you're already at full health and you're like, well,
Yeah.
I haven't seen the
Yeah.
Thanager room
Yeah.
yet, and I kind of want to save this anima, or maybe stock it up. Maybe I have Arch Druid, which is a legendary curse that increases your damage output for each anima that you have stocked up. So
Yeah.
maybe you don't want to spend that anima, right? It's like, well, I don't
Yeah.
want to sacrifice my damage, but like there's a secret room here, so you gotta
Yeah.
You got to make those
Absolutely.
choices. Write that in there,
Yeah.
and I really enjoy that. I think it's a welcome addition, and I hope they keep expanding on using anima and things of that nature, like they do with the vending machine.
Yes.
That's really cool too.
I agree with that. I definitely like that it, especially well for me when I'm playing. Usually, I like to save my animas for a rainy bad health moment. Where and I love that the secret rooms kind of forced me to rethink that. It's like, well, I was saving this blue anima for if I got damaged or if I got an injury. But now I got it. Should I use it for this?
Hmm.
What if the reward is not to my liking? What if I'm going in there thinking I'm gonna get like feral fist, or I'm gonna get like a rocket launcher or a pretty badass cloak, and I end up getting, like a shockwave or
Hmm.
something,
Right? Yeah.
or
Exactly.
it's like the letdown.
Hmm.
But that's part of the risk. That's part of the game. It's just
It's true.
it's up to you to make that choice of whether or not
Hmm.
you wanna do it, and it's nobody's fault but your own if you not don't find it to your liking.
Gotta know
Or
when
you
to
can just
hold them, know
or
when to fold them.
exactly, or just blame it on a bug. Just say, "Oh, it was
Yeah,
just a bug.
yeah, yeah. It's
It
a
was a
bug.
bug.
Yeah, it's a bug.
It was shockwave, it was a bug." I got shockwave 4 times, it's a bug.
All right, RJ, let's talk about um I guess some things that we wish that could be improved at the moment.
Okay.
They've already improved a lot.
They did, they did, they
With like a
did.
lot of like the updates, like the hot fixes, some bugs and crashes. But there's a couple other things that can still definitely be improved in the game. Like what are your what's on like your, I guess, a bucket list of things that like you really want to see get improved in the game?
My as I told you last time, my opinions about what could be improved are a little bit more they're not too in-depth because I generally enjoy the game for what it is,
Hmm.
even in all of its, faults and, any kind of aspect. I understand that this game is still in development, there's still things being worked out, there's still a bunch of kinks that need
Oh yeah.
to be sorted. So, I always have to go into this mindset remember with a large grain of salt because I have to remember anything that I feel needs improvement might be in the process of being improved. But I can definitely say that one of the things I feel could be improved is the performance abilities of the game regarding the recent update and the additions of more animations on the character. And I've
Hmm.
noticed that this has been popping up a bit in the suggestions, and I haven't peeked at the bug reports or anything or any of the tech issues. But in the recent update, they do add a lot more animation to Death, the character,
Hmm.
where say if you get a buff or you get something, the animations follow him. He has this like little I forgot which buff it was that I got, but I know that every time I first hit an enemy, like a little purple animation thing would go and follow me or
Hmm.
be attached to me. And as I told you as well, I was dealing with performance issues on one of my computers playing the game. And it was
Hmm.
only because the graphics card is not good enough to really handle the game as well. But with this added animation to it, if I feel like the graphics card just was like, I can't deal with this, man. Like, I don't know
Hmm.
what you want me to do. And the
Right.
frame rate dropped significantly. And even a little bit on my laptop, which has a good graphics card to play the game, I could see it was kind of like buckling a bit under the weight of these new added animations and these new graphics. Because it's one thing when you just have Death going across the screen beating the guy up with his scythe. It's another thing when you have like 10 enemies firing at you with a little animation on Death and you have your spells animations and all this. So the performance issues for me is that something I feel could definitely be improved. Um and that's not necessarily saying that it's not that they're doing not doing a good job now with it. They're doing as good a job as they can involving what they want to put into the game in terms of graphics and animation versus what can your system at home handle. And I know
Hmm.
it's inevitably down to what your setup is and whether or not it can handle it. Like I know the general response is, well, my computer can handle the game, we'll just go get another computer. But that's not easy, is it?
No, it's not.
It's like, I mean, I want a toilet made of gold, but that's just not in the cards now, is it? I mean, but so I have to deal with that in my own way. But I do
Right.
think that maybe they could make some improvements regarding those animations and things to maybe make it in a way to not what's the phrase I'm thinking of, like, not overwhelm the graphics, so to speak.
Hmm.
The other thing I feel, and I'm going to my notes, uh, the I feel like one thing that could be improved is actually connected to the contract system, and we talked about this, where
Hmm.
I feel like there should be a better opportunity, a better way to keep track of your contracts, or at least what your contract is detailed with, and
Hmm.
in connection to that, keep track of, uh, I guess, your build and your weapon upgrades as you go, to where you, like we were talking about, the contract system, you have like defeat 30 enemies without taking damage. I, at least in the current iteration of the game, I only know that I have that contract. And after when you're doing a run, you're not gonna be counting the whole time. And I told you, like, I was enjoying doing that, where I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But
Hmm.
I feel like I wish there could be like a tally or something that could have me help keep track of my progress in the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we were saying, like, keep a timer, you know, and or I guess. Also, I feel like I wish that there could be a way to kind of keep tally or keep track of your journey of your run, so where you could actually have there could be an improvement in terms of where the record being kept of your progression through a particular run. So at least from what I can see, there's no way for you to see, oh, I went to these floors.
Hmm.
I went to, like, I wish there was could be an improvement made to better keep track of um just like your progress throughout a particular run. And if so, you maybe be able to archive it. Because say if you had a really good run with a really good build, and you were hitting all the good floors, you did it good and you beat the game. Um Aside from you yourself recording it or keeping track of it yourself, there's no other way to keep track of it. There's no other way to archive it.
Right.
And wish there was. Um, and I think the other improvement was what I mentioned earlier, in terms of contracts continuing after you've completed them. I would love for that to be improved, and at least the contract system be improved to the point to include the ability to maybe continue it, to keep
Hmm.
going. Like, because I'm like I said, I wasn't let down with the contracts stopping after that first world, but I was definitely like, oh well, I wish there was more. I want more, man. I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
more. Yeah, and I guess, in let's see, I should keep track of my checking my notes. Um, but yeah, and I feel like in terms of anything other in improvement, so far, I mean, there's very little that I feel could be in, like, to the level, like, oh, this needs to get improved like a lot. I don't feel that
Hmm.
at least in this update too. I mean, I know there's bugs. I know there's stuff still that's kind of going wrong, but that's just a part of the process. And I do feel like there's very little in my mind that um needs to be grossly improved, I guess, is a way. But I'm curious to hear more your thoughts, being that you've played the game differently from me, where you're speed running through it, and I know that performance is definitely a big factor in your ability to get from point A to point B as fast as possible.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it as well.
Um, yeah, like I definitely share the sentiment of a performance issue that I have, or that kind of like goes on my end of things. Like if I'm playing the game for an extensive period of time, like I would say maybe 6 or 7 runs in, I get this weird like audio bug kind of glitch, like where like you kind of like lose like a level of audio, and then like the game just starts to like freeze and crash up. So like I wish that would get fixed, because like I'd like to just seamlessly play more more runs. But maybe that's kind of like a problem, that, or maybe that's like a way of the game like telling me that I'm playing the game way too much. Um,
Yeah.
um, the other thing that like doesn't really get talked a lot about is I love the curse system. I love the curse trees and everything, but I feel like it could definitely get reworked around a little bit. Because there are, like, as of right now, if we're talking about like making builds and stuff like that, it's either
Mhm.
the curse is good or the curse is just useless. Um,
Mm.
so like the curse will either like give you a damage boost like bleed or like burn or increase spell damage, increase cloak damage, increase scythe damage, right? Like something that impacts your damage is just overall good. Heck, even the ones that increase your overall mana, because then you get to because having more mana means you can spam spells a little bit more,
Mhm.
and that means more damage. That's more fun, right? Um,
Yeah.
the ones that are kind of like I would say anti-fun is like, all right, retaliation, you get a maximum health or something like that. And this is where people kind of like, really assume that Sacrifix is like, way too strong or too overpowered because you get a free heal out of it. It's like, well, I suppose so. If you want to like, uh, get a free, if you're sitting there like intentionally taking damage and then like using Sacrifix to get a free health, and then also like with retaliation you gain permanent health, then yes, of course, like you're like actually farming hard stats to make it like insanely, difficult for you to die in the game. But I think again though, to like those kind of curses, like it's rewarding players like getting hit, and I understand it could be kind of like a safety net for players that do get hit. It's like, oh crap, like I'm gonna go I got hit, but at least like I'm getting some invincibility out of it. It's still kind of like feels like a feels bad kind of curse to take, because it's like you don't want to get hit. Like feeling like getting hit is like not a objective that a gamer wants to do, right? Like I think those like retaliation curses are kind of like a feels bad, like it's more of a feels bad than a like, oh thank god I have this curse. Like the counterpoint on that, like the ones that are like the soul armor, which is in the green tree, it's like you get to negate an attack once every like 20 seconds, and that's kind of cool. It's like, all right,
Mm.
like thank God I had this, because like if not for this soul armor, I would have got freaking slammed by Brad's elbow or something like that, or one of like Max's like many projectiles that would have like taken like a quarter of my health or something, right? So that
Mhm.
I think is healthy for the game. The retaliation ones just like feel kind of like, man, like it just doesn't feel good like taking it, because it's like, if for one it doesn't reward the skill players, and for two it's even for like playing the game casually, because I'll still play the game casually. It's like, man, like I'm only getting use out of this curse if I get hit. Like that doesn't feel good, you know what I mean? So I think like the way the curse system is right now, it feels fine, but I feel like a lot of the it could use like some reworking with like the actual curses that you're taking, or having be available to have like more of an impact of your overall playstyle and overall build, so that it
Mhm.
yeah, it just gives you more tools to play the game, rather than like, all right, you get hit, you get rewarded for it or something.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, and, like, I definitely agree about the curses, and I feel like, much like everything else in the game, how you build the curses is up to you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
up to you to decide, how do you want that to shape your particular setup and your build and your combat, because it does affect your combat as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like with the retrain, where you can get better damage, through changing your weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and it's like, if you get a lousy set of curses to pick from, I mean, just like choose the less of the better, the less of the better evils, Um, and yeah, I mean, for me with curses, it's, I don't try to focus too much on the negative aspect of, like, oh, it's like a crappy curse, Well, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm one to believe that there's no curse in the game that's ultimately, like, bad in terms, like, or I guess in a lesser way to put it, that it sucks. I
Right.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's more adapted to how you want to build it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like, if you want to. So say, and ultimately, that's also where the rerolls come into play.
Hmm.
I'm a player that likes to find the rerolls as much as I can because I know for a
Yeah.
fact that I'm probably going to get a curse set that I don't like, or at least a set of options. And I like to be able to have that option to, try to change the odds in my favor, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Like having especially with the contract system, like giving you like a bunch of rerolls for like some of the contracts is like it was really huge for me personally because that's honestly one of the first things I take is
Hmm.
5 rerolls for like -20 health. Like I don't care, I'll take 20 health for 5 rerolls like any day of the week. Like give me more rerolls for sure so I can help like shape the build, but also like taking some weapons too, so like you can really kind of get a gauge of that. But little off topic. Yeah, we already mentioned like getting a counter and a timer for like your contact objectives. I totally agree with that. Because even me myself, like as a speedrunner, I'd like to see like what my progress is. I want to see like
Hmm.
like without having to rely on tools like LiveSplit, which is a third party app that keeps or that I have to utilize to keep track of my time. I'd like to see kind of like there is a timer in the game where if you go to the pause menu and then go to the map, like it shows you like how long you've been there. But I don't want to rely on that. I want to see like a live like representation of like how my time is or whatever, like maybe up at the top like right corner or bottom right corner or somewhere that it, or even like in between like the loading stages, right? Like where it
Hmm.
gets you got the elevator music playing and it has like you on a timer and stuff, and then at the end of the game, like once you beat the final boss with like the whole it gives you the progress report of like how well you did. It doesn't mention what your time was of that run, right? So, I mean, me as a speedrunner, I think it'd be cool to like toggle like a timer. Gives the player an option to have it. If you want it, it's there. If you don't want it, Hades has that option. And like you were saying, there's no like archive as well for like some of your best runs or whatever, right? And
Hmm.
Hades as well also has that kind of thing where you can kind of like see like what your best time was for this weapon or your best time was for this, or how many enemies you've killed in one whole run, or I don't know, something like that. And I think that would be pretty cool too, to kind of like showcase some of like your best times, or like some of like the
Yeah.
craziest amounts of damage you've did in like one hit or something. Like, oh man,
Yeah. It
you
would
should
be
have
great
saw
to
like
have a
where I
record.
where
Yeah.
I where I crit for like well over 2,000. It's like, wait, what? How much? Like, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, like, definitely, like, some kind of archive, some kind of record kept. And being that we are set in a company, in like a what, how could you call it? Like a, well, like, I mean, like a build, an employed building. I
Hmm.
mean, and this is coming from someone who worked in the archiving department of an
Yeah, yeah.
investment firm. They should have, and I guess that would be great to have, some kind of archive, like, not department, but I guess like archive, yeah, or an archive department, like
Hmm.
some kind of form of that where you can access a record of what you did, especially like, or at least have the option to. Because say if you did a shit run, and you're like, I don't want to look at that ever again.
Hmm.
I don't want to be
Yeah, yeah.
reminded, but definitely have the option to be like, hey, that was a great run. I would love to save the progress of that. Not, well, not, you know what I mean, like to save like the record of progress.
Hmm.
And who knows? And especially because we have to always remember the more or less the majority mindset of people who play this game. The attention span, it's not, sometimes it's not as far along. You're not going to remember every single run you did. You're not going to
Hmm.
remember sometimes the exact details. So it would be great to have some kind of record, some kind of form of that. That could also be used. Um, you know, I guess I don't want to trail off too bad.
No, you're good. You're good. Um, yeah, I mean, outside of that, I mean, those are the real like big things that I would like maybe it can improve on the game in its current state. but I mean, I don't know. I have like outside of those things, it's so hard to be like hypercritical because like again, like trying to pull back and like remember this game is still in early access and it's only been in early access for 2 months. This game is going to be in early access for a whole year before it even gets released. So, um, yeah, there's a lot. I really do appreciate how MDS and Gearbox like are very active in the Discord, and the devs listen to the team. Heck, we had Cataract, the name from one of the Discord members. So like the Discord actually voted on the name Cataract
Mm-hmm.
for the little enemy dude. It was named by Dark Mage. That's right. Um, and I think that's really cool. And like I appreciate how they take like these like little I wouldn't say like criticisms, but feedback, from the community, like into the game, and people were saying that like, oh, well, we kind of want more healing, right? Like, so healing is like really really scarce at the time, right? So they added, you can buy anima at the water cooler, which is like they listen, and now maybe like some people say, well, now the game's too easy, and it's like I don't really
Mm.
agree with that or
I don't agree
anything,
either. I don't think it's too easy.
but it's still like interesting though because you get a whole bunch of different sides and like you get feedback, and again like what I love about the game so far is that like it's only 2 months in and you already have like so many people like actively talking about like, oh man, like this game is great, like I love
Yeah.
these added changes, or even like, man, like I want to see this game, like if they tweaked this or whatever, if they tweaked this, if they tweaked that. um
Mm.
I think it's already like promoting a very healthy trajectory of like the player base
Yeah,
and interest, like
I agree.
overall interest of the game. So I'm really excited to
Yeah.
see how MDS Studios takes this game, or yeah, MDS. It's MDS Studios, MDS or MD
Try saying
Studios.
try saying that 5 times fast.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I'm excited to see like what MDS does, Magic Design Studios, like how they keep doing this, because they even have a roadmap already for
Mm.
more content already,
Yes, sir.
and it's insane.
I love the name they use for it too. Harmful agri-food. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that just makes me like raise my eyebrow, being like, excuse me? It's one thing to have an update say, like, health update, or like
Yeah, right.
infrastructure, good infrastructure, and then it's like harmful is the first word I see. I'm
hmm
like, I
If
don't
you
know
if you
about that.
if you have a good eye, they do tease a little bit too. I think at the bottom right, they have like a little angry cheeseburger guy.
Yes,
So
yeah,
they're like
yeah, I saw that.
teasing like maybe like
Yeah.
an enemy or something. So like I
That's
think that's
yeah.
really cool.
I'm looking at it now, and, well, one thing that just makes me hungry for a cheeseburger, but, um but also I definitely, and the fact that they're adding a new world, and I think that's probably what it is, which is I feel like the new world's gonna be involving something about food,
Probably, yeah.
which, I mean, that the one thing I do love about the concept of the game in general is that what if we took all the themes and, concepts relating to death, and put them as work departments. So I
hmm
definitely, knowing that food, or at least, uh, I guess you can say like obesity,
hmm
overconsumption,
Yep.
is definitely a part of that.
hmm
Cholesterol,
Yep.
and in fact, I wouldn't be surprised knowing that they've, been very, what's the phrase? They've been, MDS has been very, daring to cover a lot of very controversial themes involving death. Um, and so I'm wondering if they're gonna probably, I mean, I can feel like they might involve maybe an enemy that has to do with like diabetes, because
hmm
diabetes is definitely something that, um, is associated with food.
Yeah.
And that's coming from someone who has a very diabetic family, and I
hmm
feel like I'm next. I
Oh.
constantly feel, I always feel like I'm next on the list. But yeah, and I also saw that they're gonna add more roguelike features, and it's funny
hmm
because this is already a roguelike as it excuse me, as it is. So the fact that they're going to add even more roguelike features is
Yeah,
very interesting to me.
I'm
Very
really
curious.
curious to see like what those roguelike features really are. Like, is it like again kind of like adding to the contract system, like where you have a little bit more control to the run? Is it going to be more, or like what you said, like all right, well they want to add more. Let's see more Jocelyn, right? And like kind of
Hmm.
like do some more like let's start doubling down on some of the challenges now. Like the stakes are a little bit higher if like you lose like more health, you get more damage taken, at you at the beginning of like this run or something, or
Hmm.
maybe
Hmm.
something that we haven't even talked about at all. Like maybe it's, I mean, like Magic Design Studios is a very creative team, small but very very creative team. So like
Absolutely.
I'm really interested to see like what these roguelike features are going to be, and of course like any of the new content that is going to be coming out in the future as well.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I guess that's a good opportunity to say, props to MDS, man. I don't know if anyone from there is watching, but hey, man, we love you guys and great work. But
Yeah, absolutely, great job.
and like and complimenting what Dark Mage said, the fact that they are so connected to the community in a very in-depth way is definitely, I think, one of their best qualities.
Mm.
And especially for us being involved with the game so early. It's a wonderful approach, I guess, a wonderful approach to go into with the community because not everybody is going to like what you do. You're going to get people who might have differing opinions. And you're definitely going to get people who have very intense, strongly aggressive, differing opinions. And that's just part of it. But I like that they are willing to compromise. They are willing to listen and say, okay, here's what you guys want and here's kind of what we were looking towards for the game. So why don't we meet in the middle? Let's find that middle ground. And I really I commend them for that. I think that's a wonderful thing for them to do, and especially that they're key. And even as we all as us who have played the game now know about the update, they actually missed the deadline
Hmm.
because of an issue in the game. And I do like that they, as disappointed as some people were, and as let down as some people might have been, I do like that they said, "Hey, especially on it's one thing to not be able to follow through on your deadline for the update. It's one thing to do it on the day of.
Hmm.
It's one thing to be like, "Hey guys, this is the day of, you know, sorry." It's like, no, but I like that they were upfront and transparent about saying, "Look, we found an issue in the game, and we feel that this issue was big enough for us to be like, let's just hold it off. Let's
Hmm.
hold it off, fix what needs to be fixed, and then we'll get it out to them." And I appreciate that because having the experience in a workforce as a workplace where transparency and communication is very important, like in any kind of office work, and especially in my profession as an audio engineer and working in TV and movies, you do have to be, you have to be transparent. You have to be upfront, saying, "Look, this happened. It was my bad. Sorry about this. I'll try to fix it." And I
Hmm.
like that they do that as a company, saying, "Look, guys, you know, we see these issues. We see what you're saying, and we're going to work on it." And we would like your help to kind of give us what your thoughts are on it, and if you like the compromise, so to speak. So yeah,
Yeah, they're very hands-on. They're very,
very, very.
very interwoven, like with the community, and they really promote it. They have like a whole like section in their Discord about like bugs and reported
Hmm.
things like that. They have tech assist things as well.
Yeah.
They are listening, and it's really nice and refreshing that like this company. Not to say that like other game devs don't care about their game. Because
No, not at all. Yeah.
they definitely do. Like they wouldn't be making
Yeah.
a game if they didn't give a crap about it. But
But they
it's
definitely
just
go that extra step to
yeah, it
like
definitely feels like
show the
they.
yeah,
For sure. I totally
yeah.
agree.
And especially considering how we're still in the early days of this game.
Very early, yeah.
And and I don't know if you would agree, but I would say in my experience, a lot of times the creators of games tend to get a little more removed from the community as you progress in making the game because you're going to start getting closer to official release, which is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
you're all the way out, and not only that, you're going to get more people coming into the Discord. You're going to get more people involved with the community,
Mm-hmm.
and so in my experience, I've noticed that creators tend to, not entirely, not 100%, but they do get a little more removed from the
Mm-hmm.
community. They be less involved with the community, so to speak, where they still listen, but it's definitely the it's like you've seen those offices where it's just all glass. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like
There's
you
only
could
like
see
one
them
side of
work.
the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you see them working and it's like ping ping ping, hi, and it's like but I feel like we're in a very prime operative moment where that connection between us the community of players and the game developers and creators at MDS, it's very strong right now. And I definitely think, let's cherish that and hold on to that as best as we can because that could change. That could change in the future.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and but I'm very glad that we all got involved with it when we did so early in the game because that, at least for us, kind of affords the opportunity to keep that connection strong. To the point where you, Ryan, and others like Magma and Dark Mage and all these other people, they're mods now. You guys are mods. Congratulations. You're now more heavily involved with the community, which is great. I'm still waiting for my application to be processed. It's
Oh,
okay if it
it'll
doesn't work
it'll
out.
it'll be around, I'm sure.
I'll be
Because
I'll be the little finger of the mods, where I'll just be the guy listening. I'll be listening in the corner, gathering gossip, and
yeah,
just like
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that is all much appreciated. And yeah, it does. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't transparent about that earlier, saying that I was a mod of like the Discord or whatever. I didn't want to like put any like favoritism, I guess, like in the you know eh,
we all know what's
that.
your favorite. The beard is your favorite. We
Yeah,
all
that's
know
true.
that.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
everyone's
Yeah,
beard is the same.
that's right. Absolutely.
um,
Um, let's see.
But I
So,
agree. I agree though. It's like, but I like that you guys are going into it very well with, and in a sense we were all especially like you and Magna and other people were very much in that mindset of what's the phrase? It's not like there's definitely leader qualities in there, but I would say like we all kind of came in there with the mentality to kind of moderate without being called a moderator, so to speak. So
mm,
I'm very glad that MDS made it official for you guys because Lord knows we need moderators in that Discord.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
it's very much like the inmates running the asylum for a short while. So I am glad that they're moving towards better moderation for the
I'll be, I'll
Discord. And
be, I'll say this. Like, I'm actually pleasantly surprised because, like, since joining, it hasn't really felt like that. It hasn't really felt like I've had to like, wield out the band hammer and then like, really hark down
yeah,
on people. I've
knock on
never,
wood, knock on wood.
yeah, yeah, knock on wood. Yeah, so far, the community's been really great. Even in we've added voice calls, like voice,
Yes,
like a
I saw
voice.
that.
We've
Yeah.
added voice channels, and like I would pop in like every now and again and not like introduce myself as a moderator, just kind of like, hey guys, how's it going, right? Like, just kind of like shooting
I just
the.
want to jump in there and just like start playing some like death metal, be like, just go to blah." Just like go in there and then just drop out, just leave,
Yeah,
just
right,
like
right. Yeah, we're just kind of like hanging out, and no, people are very friendly, and like people are like they enjoy the game. People like do give their feedback as well, and like I along with like the rest of the awesome mod staff, we have like these drafts and documents and stuff like that that help collect everybody's feedback. So
mhm, mhm.
for anyone that's watching
Yeah.
currently now, or maybe in the future on YouTube or something, if you got something to say about the game, whether any sort of feedback, whether it's positive reinforcement or just like, hey, like I think like this could be improved or whatever, like please share it because like it'll get documented and it'll make the way over to the virtual desk, so to speak, of
If you got
MDS.
something to say, keep it to yourself. We don't want to hear it. I could put on a ukulele concerts in the voice channel. That's what I
Yeah,
can
there
do.
you go. That'd be wonderful.
Get a ukulele concert. Just
Yeah,
play like adapt death music, the Have a Nice Death music for ukulele. That'll be
there you
my
go.
concert. Um,
that'll be something. Like, what if like what if like you got to like record music for the game?
oh, that would be awesome, man. That would actually be kind of fun. I mean, I come from I have a long experience with a collaborative platform. It's called Hit Record. I don't know if you've heard of it. But some people have, some people haven't. But it's basically a collaborative platform that's I've been involved with for over a decade now. That's run by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the actor, and the main aesthetic of that platform is just collaborating through remixing.
Hmm.
Where it's like where you can upload a contribution to a project, and I think that would be a great kind of idea that the MDS could probably maybe do, where you could be like, why don't we try to create a score together? I guess where you could have um, people contribute an instrument, I guess, or something, and
Hmm.
then we can call you know Jay Z or someone to add a rap verse because they'll do it. They'll do it. They'll do it for the game.
They will
Um,
for the
I saw.
clout.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, I saw Dark Mage says I can only play piano and accordion, which are great instruments. I mean, that's a great no, that's one. I can play a little bit of an accordion, although my accordion playing sounds like a cat got stuck in a car manifold. So, I
Mm.
mean, it's not the best sound, but
It's a
I could.
sound.
It's a sound.
It's a
It's a
sound, not a noise. It's a sound.
it's it's a sound. It's not the most appeasing, but we live in a new. This is a new time, new age.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think I think it's great that they added the voice channels to the Discord. Again, that shows that, MDS are listening. That, and, I also like the fact that, they do appease and they do kind of give the community what they would like within limits. So I do appreciate that, they are listening. They're not gonna fill all the demands
Mm.
that we might have as a community, but I do like that they are willing to, try at least, see how it is. And, if the voice channels don't end up working as good as they should, then, MDS have every right and ability to say, like, you know what, forget them,
Yeah.
or,
Right.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Hmm.
Let's see, my screen blanked out. There we
So
go.
let's see. We talked about a lot. This is about almost 2 hours worth of discussion of Have a Nice Death.
Wow, 2 hours, man. Time flies when you party. Like, I
I know,
swear.
right? Yeah,
Like
this has been a great time. What would you I guess like to wrap up, like what would you
Mm.
what's on your wish list?
Ooh. Ooh,
Like your Have a
ooh.
Nice Death like wish list. Like this is kind of like, no holds barred. This is like, what does RJ and Beardo collectively
Because we all know they're
as
two they're
yes.
2 separate persons.
Yeah.
That's like it's like, the beard is like my Tyler Durden
Yeah, right.
Fight Club,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's
That's
right.
basically what it is. My beard is Brad Pitt, essentially. Um, 90s Brad Pitt. So, I would say, like, my wish list, at least, an abridged wish list just to for time constraints, would definitely be kind of what I mentioned earlier about, I would love to see, some form of archive or record kept of runs, or at
Mm,
least have the option. I would love to see, Jocelyn appear more. Um, at least, with at least throughout the game, if anything. Um, I would love to see, some more story and some more lore, especially the mystery that is, Monsieur Korsuvini, as anyone who might know who that is. Apparently,
mm.
yeah. Course For those who don't know, Korsuvini is, a character that used to run the World 3, I believe, right? Yeah, World
Mhm.
3,
Yeah, it's worth 3.
physical illness, and he was running that department before, Crank took over, Hector
Mm.
Crank, the
Yep.
crab. And there's this, he's been mentioned, and we might have seen him in some images, um, but we don't really know much about him. But we know, and I have a theory that I don't know if this is any spoiler. Spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. Cover your ears. But I feel like a this kind of blurred character that appears at the end is Corsavini, and I feel like maybe they're kind of uh, pumping him up to be
The big bad.
maybe the big bad. I think he might be the big bad, because I wouldn't imagine them mentioning him so kind of secretively, not secretly, but like kind of like he's a presence. We know he's there. We know
Hmm.
he's on the minds of the employees at the company. So could he be the big bad? Maybe. I
Hmm.
kind of feel that way. I would love to see on my wish list. I would like to see at least some more store and lore concerning Corsavini or the big bad, if anything.
Right.
Um, and I do. Let's see what else would be on my wish list. Let's see. Um, I wish that now I've seen members of the community voice concerns about there not being enough weapons or spells in the game. I don't agree 100%. I think, and this is coming from me having built a spreadsheet with all the weapons and all the spells. I think there's definitely a good number of them. There's an option. There's options there. But I would definitely my one of my wish list items would be to kind of, I guess, see maybe some more creative ones.
Hmm.
Um, at least like let's see what more they have on their minds, like, or what ideas MDS have for weapons and spells. Um, Maybe make not just rare ones, but extremely rare ones, like ones that are like have a powerful punch to them, or at
Hmm.
least like have heavy damage capability, but extremely rare, or even maybe make it so those extremely rare cloak and spell weapons are only available if you like finish a Jocelyn task or something, or a
Ooh.
contract.
Yeah.
Um, like I love the concept of the contracts and the risk and the reward. And
Hmm.
like I was telling you earlier, I feel like maybe we could, or MDS could push that even further to make it like a difficult. And that would leads me actually to my final wish list item. I wish that the game could definitely. I don't know. I have to add the context. I don't think the game is easy. It's still
Hmm.
hard. I still
Hmm.
die. I've beaten the game more times than I can count, and I still get hit. I still die. Sometimes I even die in the first world, and I'm just gonna blame alcohol, but I'm gonna blame the
Blame it on the
drugs.
alcohol.
I blame it on the weed and the drugs. But but really though, it's like I still get hit. I still die, so I don't think that the game is easy. I don't think it's easier since the update. However, I do think that it could be more difficult.
Hmm.
Um, and even in this last update, I've gone through the Hall of Eternity and even the second world, even pollution. And I've noticed there's still a lot of empty space. I'm
Hmm.
like, there's a lot of these little multi-level spots where you could definitely fill it with enemies. And a wish list item. I think if it's not the top, it's definitely like in the bold italics
Yeah, yeah,
text.
yeah.
Is add more enemies. At least add some kind of difficulty setting feature where it's kind of like I remember telling you that I love Doom. I'll always be a fan of Doom, and I
Hmm.
love that their difficulty. The difficulty that's like hurt me plenty,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like don't hurt me as much. And I would love to see them kind of add that twist to the game, where maybe you could have a difficulty setting with Jocelyn, maybe even where you can get the option to be like, hey, you're about to go in there. How difficult do you want it to be? Do you want to see like
Now,
do you want to see a lot of enemies?
hmm.
Or do you wanna just kind of have it be the said setup? So I definitely a wish list item for me is definitely kind of, put some more enemies in there. I wanna fight more. I want I wanna see, especially if you have that contract system where you can't get hit. You have to that would be a good test to see,
Hmm.
and I know the arenas kind of slightly make up for that, but I definitely think in the non-arena areas of those floors, they could definitely put a few more enemies, at least,
Hmm.
a few more.
Now, like, I'm thinking, like, to kind of like my wish list, but also kind of like that intertwines like with yours as well, and potentially even the roadmap. Because on the roadmap they said like an accident. or
Mm.
hazards kind of thing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So
I
like
saw that. Yeah.
what if what if it's kind of like a like the hazards and accidents kind of thing is like a difficulty slider, right?
Yeah,
For
possibly.
like so
Yeah.
like for the run, right? You not only do you have like the jostling contracts and stuff, but you also have like a difficulty slider. So like how many
Mm.
accidents or hazards are you going to see? Like does that mean more enemies per the arena, right? Like you have to fight more enemies in
Mhm.
the arena. Or is it
Mhm.
like, also like with the arena, there's also like, hazards that you need to like dodge and get out of the way of as well, or like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that really affect that. So I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's like, what their plan is or anything, but I think like, yeah, a difficulty slider would be really, really cool. To also like, again, more the risk reward kind of thing, right? So if you have a higher
Mhm.
difficulty
Mhm.
slider, you
Mhm.
find more, I don't know, rarer things, or maybe
Yeah.
you
Or
get
like more
more
solar-y
feel.
or,
Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah, or even, or even like more health drops,
Yeah.
for those who have an issue with the healing.
Right.
But I agree. I definitely agree with that. Like a sliding difficulty thing could definitely, and I agree with the thing involving like the future updates because we could see something like that. It's funny because I was thinking that the the names of the updates might refer. I was originally thinking that they were referring to the next like floors or departments
Mm-hmm.
because you have like harmful agri-food and then natural disasters is definitely something,
Oh
a
yeah.
concept, related to death as well as accidents. So I was thinking, it's funny how you what's the phrase? You kind of helped me think outside of that box, so to speak, and that it might involve the difficulty. Um, I definitely agree that there should be more risk and reward if you have it more difficult. Absolutely. I mean, that would
Mm-hmm.
be the ultimate payoff, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
certainly.
yeah, and I definitely think that would be a little bit of an added feature, especially for players. I mean, I wanted to appeal to people who are approaching the game from a new viewpoint, as well as players who've been playing this, like us, who have played this thing backwards and forwards. We know most of the levels, by memory. So I think that would definitely appeal to both sides. Where
Mm-hmm.
it's fun for us who've been playing it. Um, oh, nightmare mode, dark mage. Actually, that's a great see
Yeah.
something like that, like a nightmare
Mm-hmm.
mode, something. And in fact, like, I noticed, and maybe I don't know if you have too, that in the pollution department, World Two, there's an arena, and it's the only arena and so far it's the only arena I've seen where the enemies drop down from the top. They kind
Yep.
of fall, and that's the only time I've seen that is in the World 2 arena. I would love something like that in the other arenas where, like you said, make an arena have more people, have something like that where they just keep dropping, they keep falling. And you're like, fuck, no, no, go down, God damn it. Like, next thing you
Yeah.
know, and imagine that. Imagine if you got nothing but like Neurosyrians and Boombas like dropping down. And you're like, oh no. Like,
Yeah. Right.
especially if you have like a contract system going where you can't get hit and you're like, well, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
well,
Exactly.
but definitely, yeah, I think something definitely relating to that would be a wonderful thing to have, or at least it would be fun. It would make it fun and challenging
Mm-hmm.
because there's few things I like more in a game than something that's fun and a challenge.
Oh
Where you
yeah.
can where you can laugh and curse the game at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Throw your
Absolutely.
controller.
The only other thing that I would like wish for, honestly, like, right now is like, I don't know. Since the inception of the contract system, it is easier to get solary and meta
Mm.
rewards, right? So your
Mhm.
prismium, your solary, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I don't feel like there's enough like variety with like the weapons and the spells. It feels like, why get kunai when I can just get, I don't know, mosquitoes or something, right? Like, or why bother ever picking up kunai when I can just get bees, right?
Mm. Bees.
Um, so I highlight bees specifically because like it is currently the only like spell in the game that gives you additional move speed,
Yes. Yes.
and
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
the only way to get that move speed is by leveling it up bees to the maximum level.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
what's so unique about that as well is that if you level out or level up other spells or cloaks like to the max level, it doesn't really feel like it's like super different or unique,
Mm,
or it doesn't even need to be incredibly powerful. It just doesn't feel like super unique. Whereas like bees feels super unique because like again,
yeah,
it's the only thing in the game that gives you additional move speed, which I mean, it might not be super important to like, some casual players or whatever, but in the world of speedrunning, that's actually huge.
absolutely. No,
Um,
it's an absolutely. I would say it's like a vital aspect of speed running.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and relating to what Dark Mage just put, I was having a similar idea as well, where it would actually be kind of cool to have similar to the things that sometimes enemies will drop. I blanked on the name right now, but it's like one of the things that gives you like a temporary max health that depletes, and the other thing that heals your injury when attacking people or enemies.
oh, the life
Something
steal, yeah.
Yeah, but something similar to that involving speed, where maybe you can get a little item that drops by an enemy that gives you like a temporary speed boost,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Like, yeah, I definitely agree. And it's like I would say I would compliment that um comment you made about, how the bees definitely have a unique feature to them when you're upgrading it as opposed to other weapons and spells. I definitely think yes, like they could definitely add some unique features to the spells that are unique to those spells and those spells alone, like how bees have the speed. Um, and I'm talking like a feature that's unique to death as a character, like you were saying,
Right.
the
Mm-hmm.
bees make death faster. Well, what other weapons or spells can we have that affect death in
Mm-hmm.
his performance? I guess,
Right.
in a sense, your performance. Where what if there was like or maybe the opposite? What if there was like a thing that cursed you with moving slow? What if you got
Right.
what
Yeah.
if something, yeah, like a negative, both positive and negative effect? So, and I see that sometimes in some of the items, like there's like Slaygore, which ups your fury or your
Fury
rage meter.
meter.
So
Yep.
yeah, so there's that one, which I feel like is a kind of a small example, not to the level that Bees has, where it makes death faster. But definitely something involving that affects your, like you were saying, it affects your performance in a way. I
Bouldering gives
def
you passive defense, which
That's
is
true. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brutum Hammer gives passive ability to stun enemies more
Mhm. Mhm.
effectively.
Yeah.
So like I would love to see more things like that. I mean, like you have, of course, like it's pretty like widely known in the community that Dark Claws, like how it just gives you bleed, and that's very strong, and how you can use Dark Claws to like even ramp up even more bleed stacks of damage. Like that's great.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
those, like those spells are awesome, but like why not like give some more like utility to like other things too as well. Like I thought it was very fascinating that like none of the kunai or like the cloaks, like there's no cloak spell, weapon, whatever you want to call it, that gives you additional move speed. And I think that's kind of wild because like you
Mm.
would think that like kunai or like the really
Like a
fast,
it's like a ninja weapon,
it's a ninja weapon,
it's
exactly.
yeah.
You would think that it would give
Um,
you like some sort of like move speed and stuff, but they don't. They just simply have some of them might like give you you throw an extra projectile, which is fine. And then like one of them might have like now it applies bleed. Awesome, that's great. And now like what about the other kunai, which
yeah. Yeah.
does the same thing? Like so like what's the
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
what's the difference there? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I
why get this
agree.
kunai when this other kunai exists? Why get
Or maybe an item or a weapon that offers you maybe some form of invincibility, similar to I think it's dagger, the dirty dagger that the
Mhm.
fury is gives you like a little invincibility shield.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that's actually an
I think
extremely
that's really
unique.
cool.
It's cool, but my only criticism is that one, it's the fury.
Mhm.
So and two is that you could definitely apply that to either the dagger as a regular feature of the dagger, where maybe if you like backstab like 3 times in a row, you get invincibility or something like that, or where I like the invincibility feature, much like how I
Mhm.
like the death faster feature, and like and like this is all wrapped around the theme of a passive effect on death on on death's performance. So I definitely think something like that would benefit. And you're absolutely right. Like the cloaks don't really have much aside from maybe the dagger and maybe another weapon. You don't really have much involving death in terms of the playing. So I certainly am with you on that. That we could definitely see some more involving that.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, um, yeah, like that's pretty much like the end of my wish list. Honestly, like the game
Yeah,
is
and
already like on a very great path so far. So I'm really excited to see like what additional features they add, more content they add. Um, I'm still gonna keep playing the game,
same.
and it's just a ton of fun. So, um,
Get yours today.
yes, please. For anyone that doesn't know, I am doing something called Indie-thon, which takes place on June 5th. It's a speedrunning charity marathon. So if you want to see kind of more of that, it's happening again on June 5th, which is a Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to check
Be
that out,
there.
yeah,
Be there or be square.
be there, bees.
Bees there.
Yeah, the bees will
Bees.
likely be part of that run for sure.
Save the bees. Save the
Save the
bees,
bees.
y'all.
Yeah, also save
Save
the
the
bees.
bees, y'all.
Yes. Honey is wonderful. Um that's really all about like that I have I mean like for anyone that's already like watching like like where I stream and my content here, but RJ, Beardo, where can they find you where are you more active at?
Well, I am active in the bathroom after a long day. No, well, you can find me on the Twitch, as Ryan so graciously put there on the bottom of the screen. Bearded Mixer is my Twitch. I haven't been streaming lately, but I'm intending to get more active again soon. Usually, I'm doing like I'm an audio engineer and a musician, so I like to do a lot of music stuff on the Twitch. I do a lot of DJing, ambient, electronic music stuff. I have an arsenal of synthesizers that I uh, love to mess around with, and I'm working on getting a good setup to play some games on the Twitch as well that won't crash my computer. So you can find me on there some days. You can find me on the Instagram, Sir Beardo. I'm also on the YouTubes as Robo J, um, which is easy to find me on there. Robo and the J. Um, yeah, and you can and I was mentioning Hit Record earlier. I'm on Hit Record as Robo J as well. You can find me on there. I haven't done much stuff on there lately, but you can find my archive of material. Yeah, and you can find me on if you're a part of the Discord community. Obviously, you can find me there as Beardo. I'm usually popping up every now and then saying "Charge Attack rules," and then I just leave. So but yeah, you can find me on the Twitch, Bearded Mixer, Instagram, Sir Beardo. Yeah, but yeah, thank you again, Ryan, for having me on board in the guest seat of the show. Uh, this was a lot of fun, man. I hope we can do more of this. And I appreciate you having me be part of this, and thanks to the community as well. Uh, hopefully I'll see you guys all on the discords.
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah,
loved having you on board and from your different perspective of things because of course I, look at things with like speed running rose tinted glasses, right? And like, I wanted
yeah,
to get
yeah.
your take on a lot of different things too. So I really
The
do appreciate your time as well with, coming up with your notes and your perspective on how
Oh,
the
well,
game is.
absolutely. It's like I just like when you said like speedrun tinted glasses, I think what are my tinted glasses? And I just flashed to me like slouched in my chair, just like looking like the South Park World of Warcraft guys, sitting in my
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like that's the tinted glasses that I come from, which is just a lazy ass platform gamer. Who thinks they can sound good on the synthesizers and are constantly trying to get Beyonce to collaborate with them. Those are my tinted glasses. Um, oh yeah, what Discord am I referring to? I'm referring to the Have a Nice Death Discord. Funny you should ask. It
Yeah, I'll see if I can find a link. I can't
yeah,
invite from the Discord itself, but I'll look for a link though for sure. Um, let's see. I'll also put
I
I'll
just
put
saw it says that what I was last playing, which is hilarious because I was trying to do the Radiohead thing, the walkthrough. It's really amazing. It's a wonderful thing, but the thing just couldn't handle. My computer couldn't handle it very well. So that stream didn't last for very long. It was just basically like, oh, this is awesome. Oh wait, no, frame rate's going down. Shit, I had to jump off.
yeah
But check out, yeah, for any Radiohead fans watching us or listening in, check out the Kid A Amnesia exhibitions. Wonderful thing. Yeah, but
yeah
yeah, it's cool, man. Link up the discords. Get more
yeah it's right there. There's
get
the
more get more suckers. I mean, get more members of the community.
No, it's been a real treat. Love interacting with everyone in the Discord as well. Yeah, have a nice
Yeah,
stuff. Still in
have a nice.
early access. Yeah, it's still in early access, but it's a wonderful game. It feels incredibly polished in its current state for a game that's been in early access for a little bit. I mean, yeah, of course, there's bugs and whatever, but like the game does feel like a serious contender for like already right now, like really solid game.
You
In my
you think
opinion.
it's done, but it's not.
Yeah, you would think, but it's not. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
it really looks. Yeah, it looks very far along. I think.
mhm,
Yeah, we were talking about that. How surprising that is, and it's still surprising to me. Still
yeah,
looks
absolutely.
like yeah. So yeah, check out the game, y'all. Play
Yeah,
it,
please do. I
and
put a
don't be
link of the
afraid to
Discord in
die.
the chat. Yeah, just go and have fun. It's
Yeah,
only $15, which I think is abs
$15.
it's
A
an
highway
absolute
robbery.
it's an absolute bargain for sure. I think considering that like we have like almost 600 hours in the game collectively, so like that is
So much,
certainly entertainment value there. So
so many hours.
Again,
Uh,
RJ, thank you so much for being a
well,
part of this, and
it's
hopefully we can do some more things like with like maybe like future patch notes and future like updates and things of that nature. Yeah, I'd love to do more of these little talk
absolutely.
sessions with you.
Yeah, and like I'm totally down. And yes, thank you, man. It's an honor and a pleasure to be part of this. Yeah, I definitely think it would be wonderful to do more of this in the future. Maybe do I suggested it to another friend, but maybe do something where we can like take turns playing the game. I don't know if we can do that through any kind of screen share or whatever, but
Oh, definitely
like
we could.
yeah, like cuz I love this game and I love that it's bringing people together much like yourself.
Hmm.
Getting connected with me and all the other people on the Discord as well. So yeah, it's great, man. But yeah, thank you again, man. This was wonderful, wonderful way to start my Saturday morning. And now I will go take a nap.
And for everyone
But
watching, thank you so much as well, people in the chat or people that's going to be watching in the future in YouTube land or whatever. Do appreciate you all. Please put your suggestions, feedback, or whatever else in comments and everything below. And don't be afraid to be a stranger. Please reach out. We do
subscribe to Ryan. Subscribe to Ryan.
yeah, like and subscribe. Yeah, sure. Um, No, but yeah, please, join the community. We're a lovely bunch of people, and can't wait to see you there. So, until next video and everything, thank you all for joining. Appreciate you all, and yeah,
Have a
be
nice death.
have a nice and yeah.